This is a young lady, a singer-songwriter, just 20 years old, a recording artist from Grand Prairie, Alberta. And when we say welcome to Quinn, keep in mind we're 3 time zones apart, so we're probably interrupting her breakfast. Morning, Quinn.
Good morning.
Are we interrupting breakfast?
Oh, no, it's good. It's good.
Listen, I understand that you grew up on a family farm, but one that doubled as a kind of youth event center, and you lived in the middle of all of that. You'd have no idea, but I'm sitting here talking to you from a little radio booth in a facility called the Hope Center, and I live in this community facility as well. But there's a big difference between you and I. I'm old enough to be your grandfather.
Awesome.
You know, you were exposed to all kinds of influences in that setting, and especially, I'm told, with influences from music, well, you know, all the way through. And you're only 20 right now. What was going on at your family farm / Hope Center, or rather youth center?
Yeah, well, every Friday night we would have youth come to our house, and now every night of the week, basically, we have people here using the facilities. And Dad had a huge love for Christian music. You know, when he decided to give his life to the Lord, he said, okay, I am going to prioritize just listening to Christian music. So I grew up around Amy Grant, Reliant K, DC Talk. That was always playing at our house. Dad was always putting something on, and it gave me a huge love for the music and a huge love for the message of the music, which was awesome.
You know, I want to take a kind of different tact in talking to you, not so much about your own songs and especially the A Better Day. We will talk about that too, but you've raised something in my mind here, is that once upon a time Christian music was relegated to some songs written 200 and 300 years ago in a big black book in the church, a hymn book. That was Christian music. And today's Christian music is all over the map. We have every genre of music you can think of, and you're part of what one would call contemporary Christian music. And yeah. I look at that, and of course we play it here. The difference here is we're not a Christian station. We play all hit music, old stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all hits. And we began to introduce Christian contemporary music, Christian hit music in there. And you know what I found? People that would never go to a Christian radio station in a million years listen to the Christian songs in our mix, and they tap their toes and they shake their hips, and they don't even realize that they're listening to Christian music.
Right.
And yet, the reason I say that is because what used to be called Christian music, and still is, the old hymns of 200-300 years ago, they were songs of sorrow and lament and forgiveness, and so very, very important. But today's Christian music is designed to lift people up, to raise their spirits, to make them smile, to make them dance, to make them feel good. And your song, A Better Day, and your songs generally really, really do that. When you sit down to write a song, is that your goal?
Honestly, when I sit down, I'm always thinking about what's going on in my life and my walk with God. And usually that is joyful, because walking with God is the greatest thing ever. You know, get to live abundantly in His grace. But yeah, I just sit down and I'm like, man, what's going on? What's going on today? And how can I put that in a song and encourage people too?
Now, some songwriters, it just comes to them. They're driving down the street and the lyrics or the beat comes into mind, and the next thing you know, a song emerges. And other ones have to really, really work at it. And those who work at it usually have a plan. And I'm going to give you kind of a multiple choice question here. When you write a song, do you write it for Christians? Do you write it for people who follow Jesus? One. B, do you write it for those who don't follow Jesus in the hope that you can teach them something? C, do you write it for yourself to worship Him? Or D, all of the above?
I want to say D, because it depends on the song. Like, it depends what message I'm trying to get across. But I also know I start writing with God. Like, you know, I'll sit at my piano and I'll say, hey, God, what are we doing today? Like, what are you teaching me today? And I'll start writing what I'm learning from him, in the hopes that that song can encourage other people, whether that's a believer or a non-believer. I hope that it can encourage them to either keep walking with God or start a relationship with him and show them what Christianity really is.
Now, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but I really need to keep reminding the listeners here that you're just 20 years old. And you've pounded out 10 songs in the last 12 months alone. And you are now being played on radio stations right across Canada. People like to play your music for the music that it is, and it's uplifting, but it's also filling a need in the radio stations because it's Canadian content. And you're just pounding them out one after another after another. And what I sense in your music is that the music business generally is about the sound. It's about the feel of the music. It's about, the emotional connection, if you will, to the vibrations in your body. But I get the feeling that your music is more about the lyrics that tell a greater story. Would that be true? Yeah,
I've always loved writing lyrics and writing in general. And so, I hope that the music has to be great too. You got to write a song that's catchy so that people want to listen to it. But I hope that even more than that, they listen to the lyrics that talk about the God that I serve. So, yeah.
Now I have to ask, and I'm back to age again. I'm sorry about that, but you're breaking the mold. It's not usual for a 20-year-old to be breaking into the business with such a vengeance as you are, and many would argue that you're at the age to be a consumer of music, not the producer of music. And so I look at that and I think, how did you break down the doors? How did you get in to convince somebody to listen? I mean, they would see you, they would know perhaps that you're 20 years old. Well, actually, you were starting in your teens, and you've got something to say, because somebody who produces 10 songs in a year and is charted now to play in stations right across Canada, maybe beyond, you've got some kind of a formula that other people need to know.
Well, I guess I remember being 18, and I remember saying to a friend of mine who was like, hey, why don't you go record a song in town? And I was like, I could never do that. And then I just felt it on my heart, and God was just like, hey, just like prodded me along, like, hey, why don't you do that? And so I just kind of went and did it, prayed about it, and I've kind of just always just take every opportunity that comes to me. I know I've been told by a lot of people, like, hey, every opportunity you get to play, to sing, to do anything, do it. Just take those opportunities. And I know for me, I really have a heart for youth ministry because I've grown up in that. And so I want to reach this audience also while I'm young. I want to be able to be in youth group and be like, hey, like, I'm almost the same age as you, and God can use us mightily. 1 Timothy 4:12, do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for all believers. And so, I think I'm just trying to walk with God the best that I can, and
So you were 18 when you came up with the first one. You went to record it. Were you writing songs before that, or did you make that decision, sit down, write the song, and go record it?
Yeah, I started writing songs when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And, they were pretty bad at the beginning, though. They were pretty bad. But, they've gotten a little bit better, I hope. And, I just picked one of the ones that I had written close to around the time when I was 18, and kind of that applied to what I was doing in my life then, and decided to record it. So,
What was that first song, and what did it say?
It was called In the End, and it was just talking about how I wanted to trust God with my life, because I know being young, coming right out of high school, you're always like, what do I do? Like, I'm currently in college, and I was like, should I do college, or should I do a different degree, or should I, pursue this music thing? Like, what do I do? And the song was me telling God, hey, I'm going to trust you. And so, that was In the End, and it it was the first song that, set me up to say, okay, I'm going to start, and I'm going to trust you, God, and then the rest of the songs are going to follow after that and come in that trust. So,
Did you go to a commercial studio, or did you go into a little booth like I'm sitting in right now and record it yourself?
It was kind of, I did, it was commercial, but it was a little booth that was commercial. So it's just a guy in town who does it, and he did a great job. So, yeah.
And as the rest, they say, is history, and you're only 20. All right. We just played your song that you recently released, and of the 10 that you've released in the last year, A Better Day. You couldn't get more uplifting. You couldn't get more kind of cheerful and exciting. Where's that come from, that particular song?
Well, that song, I knew I wanted to write a song for the upcoming album I'm doing about my Christian friends, because I have such a great community around me who has been encouraging me in my walk and sharing in the failures of that and also the good things about that. And so a good day is just me saying, like, hey, I'm thankful for these friends around me. You know, Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And I'm so thankful for these people who have been put into my life that have been sharpening me and strengthening me. And I thought, like, I want this to be upbeat and super fun. So I took it to, like, the idea to my producer, Nathan Larson, and I was like, hey, I want this to be something we can dance to and I can play at youth groups that can encourage people that, hey, we don't need what the world says. Because I know that the world will tell us, you need to go out and party and all this stuff, and I just have seen that I don't need that to have fun. I had the best summer ever, and after that summer I was like, man, I want to write about how fun it is serving Christ, but also having friends who want to do that alongside you. So yeah, that's where A Good Day came from.
And of course, you know, and I know, that for you to succeed in the music business as a business, that you have to devote a lot of time and a lot of attention in promoting yourself. You need to do tours, you need to do meet people all over, you need to take gigs, how do you do college and all of that as a full-time job at the same time?
Well, I only have one more month of college left, so I'm really banking on that because it is pretty busy. It is very busy. But right now I'm focusing on social media content and just like putting a video out once a day and doing that. And yeah, just kind of working with God, praying a lot, like keep me going, God. But yeah, I've only got a month of college left, so I'm excited to have the summer to work on music and on the farm and stuff. So yeah.
Now, when I mentioned that it's a business and you have to do all kinds of self-promotion, in the old days, of course, you would have a manager, you might have a recording contract, and those people would do a lot of the work for you. I'm getting the sense that you are of a generation where you and the internet are doing the work.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's a totally different landscape. It's really a lot about social media content, and I've had to learn to push my content and not worry about what other people think, but just do it for God and hope that it reaches the audience that it needs to. So, yeah.
Now, I want to go back again and point out the age difference, the age situation here one more time. And that would suggest that a 20-year-old female today speaking out so proudly and happily and joyfully about Jesus is not the norm. The people of your age group, of your demographic, they don't even know Jesus, don't want to know Jesus, and yet here right. You are. Is that saying something about Alberta or Grand Prairie or just your upbringing?
Well, I know with my upbringing, my family, they strive to make Christianity to show people that it's actually fun. That, I mean, it's hard. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. This is sacrifice. This is taking up your cross every day. But it's also so joyful. It is so amazing to live with Christ and to live for Him. And so I know growing up, I wasn't shown Christianity that was like boring or unfun, I guess, but that was alive and vibrant. And I saw the people around me growing up that wanted to serve Christ and were amazing people and who I wanted to be like, you know? And so, yeah, I've just been encouraged so much through this community, and I hope to be able to take that encouragement to other people. So, yeah.
Now, I mentioned earlier that this is kind of one more conversation in a continuing series with singer-songwriters, and I just realized something that I hadn't noticed before, but of the great number of people that I've talked to, most of them are female, and surprisingly, most of them are in Western Canada. they're in Alberta and BC for the most part. There seems to be, a group of you. You've got a private club going or what?
I don't know. I only have actually met in person one other female Christian artist from here, or two other ones. But I guess, I don't know, must be something in Western Canada, I guess.
Yeah, now you're pitting East versus West here. but you're not a successful singer-songwriter until you come to Nova Scotia, my dear.
That's right.
Speaking of that, and I mentioned about the gigs and the tours and all of that, are you on the road a lot, and will the road take you to Nova Scotia anytime soon?
I haven't really been on the road a lot. I'm hoping to do a few shows this summer. I'm just breaking in, so I'm kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I would love to make it to Nova Scotia at some point, but we'll see. We'll see when that happens. See if I can convince the band to come over there. That'd be awesome.
I want you to make a promise. If ever the day comes you start mapping out a tour to include the East Coast, I want to know about it first, because yes. I want to help you with it, number one, and more importantly, I want to be part of it when you get here.
That would be awesome. I will let you know. I'll write that down, write a reminder.
Yep. Thank you for that. And the reason I'm saying that, the reason I want to do that is because I was moved by your song, A Better Day. I was moved by some of the other things you've written, but I'm really, really moved by the way you carry yourself in this conversation. Quite often when you start talking about age like that, it becomes a barrier. But I can see you'll break down every single barrier that's in front of you. I know it.
Oh, thank you.
Now, you mentioned your band. Is it big, small? Is it a church praise band, or how did it come together?
Well, it's actually a bunch of youth leaders. So a bunch of people from my church, one guy from another church, and there's 8 of us in the band. We got like violin and cello, but also like drums and electric and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just a group of people who want to serve God, and it's really fun. It's awesome. So we're hoping to do a few more shows.
And I'm hoping to do a whole lot more shows, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Now, I don't normally do this, but again, you've got some kind of a formula going on. And I know there'll be somebody listening to us right now saying, hey, she's only 20 and look what she's doing. What do you tell somebody, a teenager that loves music, perhaps like you do, and wants to do something with her music or his music? What do you say to them about trying to break into this business?
I would say some advice that I've received from another musician was, no one's going to work harder than you at your music. And if God's given you a calling on your heart to do something, I'd say do it. You're never going to get anything done sitting around. You got to just get up and walk with Christ and, go do it. Go do that thing that you want to do and work hard at it. That's really the advice that I've been given, and honestly, that's been the most helpful to me, to be like, okay, I've just got to do this. I've just got to go. And it's been so fun and awesome.